Hello?
Hey, hold on one second.
Okay.
There we go. You there?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Paranormal Journal. Sorry about that. We had a little problem with the server there. It got knocked out. So we are back online with Don Frank, with the co-host, and Melodie Brookman. What's up, guys?
Hey, we're back.
Yeah, sorry about that. We got knocked off a line for some reason. I was like, I lost sound, everything. You still there, Melodie? Uh-oh. I hope I didn't lose her. I think we might have lost her. Let me send her
Her
a
audio's
message.
on, but
Let me send her a message real quick. Weird stuff, man. She's she's got
yeah,
some
we got
weird
some
stuff with her,
paranormal
man.
stuff. I'm
Yeah,
telling you, man, it's knocking us out.
yeah, I'm telling
She
you,
knocked us out.
crazy, man.
Yeah,
She started talking all of a sudden that like the whole link went bad. It was like, "What?" I'm like,
it shut
what
you
happened?
off, and I'm like,
It knocked my mic off, everything. I'm like, what's going on? She's definitely
yeah,
got some stuff with her.
yeah. She said no matter where she goes, it keeps following her. So
Yeah,
she'd be out shopping, and it's still coming after her.
it's weird, man. It's just like cut off. She came on. I put her on mute for a second just so we could get the intro back in. But man, that was weird,
Yeah,
dude. That was really
it
weird.
was.
Let me
I
see
didn't know
this
what
back
was going on first.
Yeah, like, dude, the mic went out, everything went out, and I'm like trying to get back everything online. All of a sudden, it totally blinked out. Weird. And now I'm trying to get her back.
She's on.
She's
It's
still
just
connected. Yeah, she's still
yeah,
connected.
she's connected. You just don't hear her.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can
There
hear you
you go.
now.
Hi.
We got you now.
They knocked you out.
Yes, they
I think
did.
They
you got some
knocked you
paranormal
out.
stuff going on with you.
I told you.
That was weird. I
They
like
knocked
lost.
you.
Yeah, I lost the mic. I lost the power. Everything. I'm like, what the
Oh
hell's
my
going
gosh.
on?
They do that all the time. They mess with people.
Wow,
Yeah,
that was weird.
definitely.
I've never had that happen except one other time. That was weird.
This was the worst one.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
couldn't do anything.
No.
no, they do that all the time. They mess with people.
That is crazy. And you said your case is sort of like the entity case with
Yes.
Doris
Barbara
Pryther.
Hershey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Doris Biter. Yes. Um yeah, they have raped, molested, and assaulted me for years.
Oh wow.
It's
Ooh.
it's horrible. Um these things are horrible. We actually got raw footage of them doing it to me.
Oh my God.
Ew.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Um
Wow.
insane.
when I met Barry, I said, the only way we're going to catch these things is to film in the bedroom. And he was kind of against it. And I said, yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to go that route. And then we were filming over time, and then he was downstairs editing, and I was trying to sleep, and he came upstairs and he goes, Melody, and I said, what? And he goes, I gotta ask you a question. I go, what? I'm trying to sleep. He goes, but I gotta ask you, were you like moving or doing something? I go, can't you wait till morning? And he goes, no, it's really important. And I said, well, I gotta work in the morning. And he goes, yeah, but it's really important. And I said, well, can't you wait? And he goes, no, it's really important. So I eventually watched the footage, and my jaw like hit the floor. What we caught on footage was, I'll send you the link later on. These things come from the bottom of the mattress. They don't come from the top like you would normally see, like in Doris's case. They come from the bottom of the mattress, and you see the sheets pulsating up and down in my private area.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
And right before it happened, there were these huge orbs that went through the room, and Barry was scrambling for a battery. I guess I didn't see that part because I was trying to get some sleep because I had to work the next day, and but he managed to get the footage of those sheets pulsating in my private area. And
Wow.
when I saw the footage, I just completely shut down for a few days.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's one thing, when you're dealing with it, but then to actually see it on camera, it just takes you back to everything coming back, to all the stuff that they do to you. It's just horrific what these things do to people. I mean, they do it to me, and I'm sure they've done it to other people. I mean, I'm not the only one out there that have attachments that get raped and assaulted in this manner. I don't know if people get assaulted from, when they come up through the bottom of the mattress, but I'm sure, like in Doris's case, they come up from the top of the mattress, from the top, and they hold her down. And, as you saw, I compiled a video of all the bruises I've gotten through 15 years, and you see all the damage I've gotten. It's a lot of bruises. Some are small, some are large. And then I've gotten sprained fingers, and the last one was just a few days ago. They left fingerprints on the inside of my forearm. Is this my forearm or my, what's it, Barry? This one right here? By my shoulder.
Bicep.
Yeah, my bicep. Yeah. And it's like, obviously I'm not sleeping with my hand underneath there. So they left fingerprints there. And yeah, and my wrist was sprained. My left wrist was sprained just like 4 days ago. I woke up and it was sprained and hurting me. So they were messing with my wrist. I don't know what they were doing in my sleep. I wasn't like paying attention to it. But yeah, these are the things they do. It's
Now,
just,
has this been happening when you've been sleeping or awake as well?
awake as well.
Okay.
Yeah, when I go to work, sometimes they stand on my foot all day, for hours. And then I'll have a little bruise on the top of my foot. There is a picture in that video that I have with a little tiny bruise on the top of my foot of them standing on my foot all day. I actually had a doctor's appointment one time, and my doctor said, "How'd you get that bruise on your foot?" And I just didn't want to get into it with them about where the bruise came from, Um, obviously not from my shoe being too tight. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, these things, yeah, they knock on windows, and they throw little stones. You don't see the stones, but you can hear it go ping, and hitting things. And they they just do things to get your attention.
Do you ever find
Um,
like coins, like randomly,
no,
like laying everywhere?
no coins. And there's no smell. Like there's no odor.
Okay.
No foul odor or anything
Like,
like that?
yeah, like I was talking to Barry about that. Like, you know how demons, you find like a sulfur odor,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and
Right.
you go, oh, there's a demon in the house because it smells like sulfur, and like dead people, it would be like mildew or a rotten odor. So it's like a dead person or a dead human. Um, there's no odor.
That's
Um,
strange, huh?
Yeah.
so we've come. I mean, I've seen what these things look like, and I've compiled a video of different pictures of entities that I've taken through the years, and other people have taken on my case. And we've come to the conclusion that these things are not human, but they're not, we don't think they're like a so-called demon, as you would say it, like a fallen angel. And we don't think they're like elementals, because they're not these nasty elementals just playing like a trick or something. Um, they just don't fall under that category.
What about considering maybe part of the alien abduction kind of thing?
um, some like Stefan Bugatti was saying that they're aliens, and that has crossed my mind. But the thing is, I don't see like spacecrafts, and I'm not seeing this light, ominous light, and I'm not missing time all the time. Um, I was abducted a few times, but the thing is that it was, um, the thing that was strange about it when I was abducted is that these entities weren't around when I was abducted. And it was, why weren't they around? So I know that it was two different instances that went on. So these entities, we're concluding, may have come from another dimension. That's what we're thinking. They're just entities from another dimension, that we're thinking is going on.
Yeah, it's possible. There are other dimensions. Scientists have proved there are other dimensions besides three dimensional. There are like four, four or five other dimensions or something like that. So, is it possible? These things are coming in on those dimensions. It's highly possible. You know.
Yeah, and the thing is that we've gotten rods in the house, and one of the photos we've gotten was like this. It I've gotten the female voice has always come up pink on me. So when I'm snapping pictures, there's this instance of pink all the time. And there's this pink orb that follows me around. And the thing is that we got this pink rod. So we're thinking, well, why is it a rod? And it has like a spine to it. So I'm thinking it's got to be from another dimension. I mean, because rods, from what has been researched, we think are from another dimension and not from, from some, from fallen angels or something. So,
I'm gonna tell you. I gotta
yeah,
tell you something kind of weird
yeah.
that just happened while we are doing the show.
Oh, sure.
At one point, you were talking, and I thought I heard a female voice say, "Help me" in the static, really low.
Oh,
I'm gonna go back and listen to this show afterwards and see if I hear it again. But I'm almost certain I heard a female voice say "help me" like really low.
oh,
Um,
if
it
she
sound
has a high pitched voice, she's probably just trying to trick you. So she doesn't mean.
I was just texting Don. I was like, I almost certain you were talking and I heard a voice say like "help me" like really low in between your voice and static. It was weird.
Probably. It's interesting because with my haunting, I've seemed to get, I see dead dogs and people and dead people as well. I and Barry will take me to haunted places and he'll say, well, let's see what you can do. And I hear people walking around. I can hear them. I can feel them, their presence. And I seem to be able to capture, uh, ghosts, dead spirits and stuff on camera, if I go to a haunted location. So I've seen, so there is stuff going on with me, besides just, having these attachments to me.
Yeah, I mean some of these they sound like they're getting pretty intense when you got I've seen some of the bruises from your pictures and man, they're pretty intense. They're some of them are really deep looking bruises.
Yeah. Yeah, some of them are really bad. I mean, sometimes I wake up and I don't realize I have been bruised that badly. And then I'll be getting ready for work and I'll be like, oh my God, Barry, did you see this bruise on me? And, I don't even realize I got it. And then I'm like, oh my God, look how big this is. Yeah, sometimes I don't even realize it. They grab and poke me at nighttime. Um, it's Yeah, some of them are really horrific. Yeah. Um, and they hurt
I
after a
mean,
while. I mean, I don't notice them, and then yeah.
have you ever been like dragged out of like literally like dragged out of bed like onto the floor or it's just contained into the bed or
Um, One time I was yanked. Uh, and it was just one time that I was actually yanked. It kind of startled me. Um, and it was in bed. Um, oh gosh, when was it? I think it was back in 2018 in Simi Valley. I moved to Simi Valley after my divorce. And yeah, they yanked me trying to get my attention. And it really startled me because it made me realize, how powerful they can actually be. Because I get to a point where I put the fear behind me now, because it's been so many years that I'm not afraid of them anymore. But then every once in a while, when they do something like that, it kind of puts the fear back into me, like, oh, they are that, they can do stuff, but I try to stay strong and stay, powerful, and remind myself, look, I'm stronger than them, I'm better than them, and just don't be afraid of them anymore.
Now,
And
you have Barry that's right next to you in bed at night. Does he get any kind of attacks or anything, or he doesn't experience anything?
that's quite interesting, because last night, um he finally came up to bed, and because he falls asleep on the couch sometimes. um he came up to bed, and he settled in, and the bed shook, and I said, did you just move? And he goes, no. And I said, did you feel that? And he says, yes. And then the bed shook again, and I said, did you feel that one? And he says, yes, I did. And he said, yeah, I did feel that one. And then I said, okay, I just want to make sure that you actually felt that. So sometimes he does feel it, but what boggles my mind, and I try to wrap my mind around it, is that Barry sleeps within a couple inches of me, and he goes right to sleep, and he sleeps so soundly, and he snores and everything. And my dog sleeps down at the bottom of my feet, and my dog snores, and nothing. They just sleep soundly. Nothing happens to them. They're sleeping fine. They sleep through the whole night, and they're within inches of me. And yet, I'm hearing, you have to imagine this. I'm trying to sleep, and they're not hearing this. I am. I'm hearing this. Why don't you talk to me? Why don't you talk to me? Why don't you listen to me? All night long, they're talking to me. You need to understand this. You need to understand this. You got to talk to me. You need to understand this. You move those books. Move those books. Get rid of those stones. So, and then while this is going on, I'm feeling this vibration in my private area. And it's this, they're trying to assault me in the middle of the night. And I'm feeling this vibration over and over and over again. And they're screaming at me all night long.
That's
And I use stuff to try to protect myself in bed, and they don't like it, and so they're screaming at me. So what little sleep I get during the night, they wake me up at 12, 12:30, 3, 3:30, 6, 6:30 in the morning every single night. And sometimes I will be so exhausted that I sleep through the whole night after so many days of being awake. And then and they can't wake me up. But the other times, I'm just like, they're just busy screaming at me, touching me, poking me, prodding me, trying to assault me. And then one of the male voices, the male, he's really annoying, and he's very heavy set. He likes to sit on the side of my right thigh, which I don't know how he does it. He defies gravity by sitting on the side of my thigh. It's not it's not like a human who can. I mean, how do you sit on somebody's side? I just can't figure it out. Um, it's very painful. It feels like over 100 pounds sitting on the side of my leg, and it hurts. So I wake up, my hip hurts, my leg hurts, and I'm in a lot of pain from him sitting on me all night. Um, and they do that every single night.
Now your
It's
Wow.
now your dog doesn't react to any of this that's going on.
most of the time, no, because they're not after the dog, they're after me. You
Mm-hmm.
have to understand, these attachments are after me, and they clearly state, we want you dead.
Yeah.
They're, we want you dead. That's what they tell me. We want you dead. This is what we're trying to do to you. And they do this every single night.
Hmm.
That's crazy. Did
That
you
is
did
crazy.
have? Yeah, I mean you do have like alien abductee. You've been abducted by aliens as well.
Yes. There's a video I posted of all the entities, pictures of different entities, and you'll see if you look in the video, there's a picture, and it's really crazy that I got in below the window by the dog bed. You'll see a gray alien head, and I was just like, wait a minute. I was kind of taken back, like, did I actually get that picture? It's like the silhouette of a gray head of an alien. Um, there's like 3 shots of it. There's a couple of them in the room there, and it was just kind of unsettling to see that. But I've seen them during the abduction. I was holding hands with one, and I was not in my home. Um, I was taken, I guess I was in this white room with one of them, which is kind of weird. And when I came back, I had this bruise on my arm from it.
Yeah, I've seen some of
Um,
those bruises you put out there. They were pretty intense. I mean, some of that was
yeah,
paranormal. Some of it was alien abductee too. So that's pretty serious
yeah.
stuff.
And a lot of it's like on the inside of my thighs. And it's like, why would I sleep and put fingerprints on the inside of my thighs? It's like, you know, uh, people just don't do that. They don't put their hands there and like deliberately put bruises on the inside of your thighs for 15 years. I mean, it's just, I mean, I've been working at the same job since, well, no, I've had other jobs, but I've been, working. I went back to the same job um, at a dental office. I worked there at 2005 to 2007. And then I went back there 2014. And I've been there ever since. So if I was crazy or schizophrenia, I wouldn't be able to hold the job down.
No, not with schizophrenia.
Yeah,
No,
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
there's no way. Do you think these
And
bruises on
and
your legs are from like some kind of medical procedures they're trying to do, or
um it could be. I mean, I maybe some of them are. And the thing is that one time that I know that I was abducted, I was gone for an hour and a half. And I remember something about when in the morning, I remembered something about being sucked out of my kitchen cabinets. Now, why would I have that? Why would I remember something like that? It's just some weird, random thought. And it wasn't like, you know, I had watched some show about an alien abduction and people get sucked through their house, you know. Eh, It wasn't like that. It was like, it was a specific random thought of you were about your, and it was a certain kitchen cabinet in my kitchen. And I was like, why am I thinking about this kitchen cabinet? It was just strange.
Yeah, like maybe that's the way they were teleporting you out or something. Who knows? I mean, that's I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's
These
just,
aliens that are coming to our planet. They've been coming here for a long time, and the technology is way more advanced than ours. So could they be doing some kind of like Star Trek kind of teleportation kind of thing with people, or who knows? You know, it,
yeah. The thing
it's a
is
total
that
mystery.
I asked it. I asked that alien. Well, I asked it because I was holding hands with it, and I said, "How long have you been doing this?" And he said, "Oh, about 78 years."
That's a random number,
Yeah,
78
really,
years, right?
78.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I remember thinking, "That's an awful long time that you've been abducting people."
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember thinking, that, you know, there's a lot of people that, you know, believe that, oh, there's these nice aliens and they're here to do the humanity and all this nice stuff, right? And I'm thinking, if they're nice and you think it's okay for them to abduct you, you know, and suck you out of your house, I go, but here's the thing, they're going into your house uninvited and taking you from your house without your permission. Is that a nice thing to do?
No, that doesn't seem very nice to me.
No. So why are you running around thinking that these are nice aliens to begin with? No.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just weird. And the thing is that when I was missing for an hour and a half, and these attachments that I have, they're always, I can always hear them, feel them, and sense them. And the thing is, when I was gone for an hour and a half, dead quiet. I didn't feel them. I didn't hear them. I didn't see them. Nothing when I was gone. And when I came back, the one attachment, he was screaming. What was that thing? What was that thing? That thing, that, the fucking creature, he just fucking took her right out of her house. He fucking took her. I mean, he fucking took her right out of her house. He goes, if that fucking alien comes back, I'm out of here. He was freaking out. I mean, why was he freaking out? And then the other attachment, he was feeling my tongue and he was saying, she's waking up, she's waking up. He's all, that fucking alien, he fucking took her right out of her house.
Wow.
And
Mm.
then in the one was like, she's waking up. And then he finally calmed down. And then they went back into their act again of you better listen to me, and you know, why don't you talk to us? And went back to poking and prodding me again. So
Jeez.
why were they acting that way if I wasn't really abducted? I think I was really abducted. And I had that bruise on my arm, and I didn't see the bruise until morning.
That's strange. I
So
mean, well, here's a scenario, you know, that I've thought over the years about aliens, and I seen the UFO myself when I was a kid. And the weird thing about it is, maybe they're doing these abductions to really study us, to study our weaknesses, our strengths, and maybe one day they're going to come here and take this planet. You know, you never know. It could be kind of like a War of the Worlds kind of thing. It's possible. You know, maybe that's why they're
Yeah, I
abducting a
could
lot of people to study what our weaknesses are, what our strengths are. I mean, it's possible.
I think they're already here. I don't think
Oh,
it's
they've been
a
here.
Oh, they've been
yeah,
here for a while, I believe.
yeah. I don't think it's a thing of, oh, they're coming. Like people think, a lot of people don't know. I think they're already here. And the reason why I believe they're already here is because not I mean, I actually saw and filmed a UFO out in Simi Valley, and then on top, I was with somebody when he saw it as well with me. But you know, the app Necrophonics, that paranormal
Yes.
investigators view, yes, and it's very. I mean, that app is right on about. You can hear what what spirits are saying. There's not that much white noise in the background. It's very clear. Um, it's not a toy either. It's made by a real paranormal investigator. And when Stefan Bagatti and his team came out to my house, they came out during the daytime, and I was ecstatic that he came out with this huge amplifier, and he turned it on, and he had talked to all three of these attachments. And I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Do you know what you just did? Because no one else was able to provide evidence or talk to these entities, or, I mean, it's very hard for me to get evidence because there's very little poltergeist activity on my case. And it was hard to prove my case. Um, and a lot of people didn't believe me, and they were saying, oh, you're crazy, it's not happening. And so, but he came in during the daytime, and he's like, oh yeah, and he was able to talk to him right then and there. And I was just like, this is amazing. And I'm like, do you know what you did? You just talked to them. I'm like, this is amazing. Actually hear their voices outside of my head, and not just my head. um, but you can hear the reptilians in the background with their tongues slithering from that app. And it's just mind blowing when you hear that. Because when you hear the tongue slithering and that strange language that they do, the reptilians, it just really, I mean, it kind of blows your mind when you hear it in the background. You're like, all right, let's turn it off now. I don't know if you've heard it before. Uh, when
No,
they
I've never
talk,
heard it. No.
No, I've never
yeah,
heard it myself. No.
yeah. So that's when I realized, and it clicked, that I was like, oh my God, Simi Valley is riddling with aliens. And yeah, I was like, that's kind of spooky to realize that, because like Rocketdyne was over by Box Canyon, is in Simi Valley, and that's where and that was shut down, where they did all those they did all those experiments and stuff, and they had that leakage in Box Canyon where they shut down that park, and everything. I don't know if from the radiation and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I
Wow.
mean, we live near a nuclear power plant in Pennsylvania, 3 Mile Island, which they just made a
Oh,
documentary about that on Netflix. So
oh wow.
yeah, we live not far from. We're both within a 50-mile radius of 3 Mile
Oh yeah,
Island.
it's
So
probably It's practically in my backyard, so where I'm at.
Oh yeah, it is right where you are. Far.
Oh my gosh.
But I think that's all dismantled now, right? It's not operational anymore, is it?
No,
Yes.
it's not operational right now.
There's a park in Chatsworth that's been shut down from years because the radiation from Rocketdyne had leaked into the park.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty
not
bad.
good.
But, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, these attachments have just been a living nightmare for me. Earlier today I kind of broke down about it. I was telling Barry I was crying. I was upset because I said, "Look, I'm completely exhausted." I mean, they break you down not only physically but mentally as well. I mean, they just wear on you. Um,
Yeah, we have a
the
case actually. We actually have a case that we've been doing for like 10 years, and it's about the same kind of like not on the physical. She's been physically attacked a bunch of times, but not on the scale that you have. But she's so worn down from it and tired and just sick of it. She's like, I just want it to be over. It's been going on
that's
for like 12 years for her, and she's just like, I just want it to be over. I'm sick of it. You know?
Yeah, that's I keep telling Barry that. I said I just want it to go away. I said I don't want to hear them, I don't want to see them, I don't want to feel them anymore. I said I would love to just go to bed normally, like normal people.
Yeah.
People don't take going to bed for granted. And they don't understand that. They just think, they get into bed and they go to bed, and they go to sleep and they have their normal dreams and they have their normal nightmares and stress out about normal everyday things. And, I don't have that, and I want that back. Um, I have this whole routine that I do. You can ask Barry every night. When I go to bed, I put on. You guys know what Spanx are, right? To hold your
Yes. Yep.
cellulite in, right?
Yep.
Well, I use it not for that reason. um, I found when I was at the Paracon, I met Ann Bender, and she's a psychic medium. She does that show Haunted Hospitals.
Okay, yeah.
And she said, "Oh, here," and she gave me the stone, uh, Shugnite or something is called. I can't pronounce it. Anyways, it's this black stone, and she said this should help you out. And it's been helping a lot. So I bought some more of it on Amazon, and it's the only thing that's actually pretty much helped a lot. I've tried everything else. I mean, everything else. Name it, I've tried it, and nothing's really helped as much as this. And so I put the Spanx on, and then so this might help for other people who have attachments, who are having a difficult time for something that is non-human and not demonic and maybe not human spirits. But so you wear the Spanx, and then I bought this wig tape. It's for wigs. And this tape is extremely strong, because you can't get it off when you're wearing a wig. Uh, so it works very well. I've tried medical tape, but the medical tape it doesn't hold it on that strong and it comes off. So I bought the stones to put on your cell phone, and they ground out the EMF waves. You want to do the opposite of attracting ghosts. You want to ground out the ghost. Instead of attracting ghosts, you want to get rid of ghosts. So EMFs attract, you want to ground them out. So these stones get rid of ghosts. And they're round and flat. They're about 2 inches round, which is a pretty good size. I bought 6 of them. They come in a 6-pack. They're made for your cell phone. The sticker on the back isn't strong enough, so get the wig tape. It comes in a roll. And if you don't use the hairspray, because then you'll never get it off of you. And I put a little strip of it on, and I tape it. I tape one on the back side of my spine, on my underwear. Not on my underwear, but on me, inside my underwear. And then I tape 2 in the front of my underwear, on my body, and then the rest on my chest. And the reason why on my chest is because the female likes to sit on me at nighttime and suffocate me. So I have to get her off of me. Sometimes I'll put one on my forehead because sometimes they like to get invade my dreams. Demons do the same thing, invade your dreams, give you weird dreams. They also like to take your soul and give you outer body experiences. These things do the same thing. So if you put one on your forehead, that will help you prevent them from taking you other places, taking your soul. So I tape with this tape, and they can't get it off of you. Then I have this book. It's called Prayers Against the Demonic. It's a little tiny pocket book. It's only about $10 on Amazon. They hate this book. And I put it inside the Spanx. One on the back and one in the front. It helps a lot. They don't like it. It's not a cure-all. It's just a temporary. It's like a Band-Aid, a temporary fix. And that's how and I also I made little tiny copies of prayers, the Lord's Prayer, the Lord's Prayer, the Exorcism, and St. Michael prayer. I miniaturized them so they fit into like a little ID that the size of an ID badge. I miniaturized them that small, and I put them into little soft packets, and I tape them on my chest. Those seem to help a lot too. And then I pray only to God and Jesus, and I tape those on my chest, and that's how I sleep every night.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried a cross over your bed?
Yeah, doesn't do a
wall?
thing. They
Nothing?
mock it and they laugh at it.
Okay.
The cross is something for demons, and these are not demons.
Mm-hmm.
They laugh at it, and they will actually. It doesn't really affect them at all. They think they do 2 knocks. They don't do 3 knocks. They only do 2 knocks. I don't know why. I don't know. They just kind of they'll be like knock 2 times on something, like, hey, we're here. 2 knocks. They only did 3 knocks one time. So I don't know. It's not and there's no sulfur smell, so it's not really like a demon thing. And I've tried salt. I've tried sea salt, Himalayan salt, volcanic salt. I do have a picture. I did try the salt, right? I put it all over the house, under the bed, everywhere. And they stamped a 4-finger handprint in it twice. So the salt only just pissed them off. It didn't really do anything. I took a picture of the handprint, and I do have it it's on TikTok, and it is on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That kind
One
of
of
reminds
the
me of that. Remember that one case we did, Don, with the boy that got grabbed on his arm and it left his fingerprints all over his arms.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that.
New Bloomfield, I think it was. Yeah, this boy
Yeah.
got grabbed by. He said it was a man that he was seeing in his
a
room, and it left.
man.
Yeah, it left these fingerprints on his bicep, kind of like yours, and it didn't go
Huh.
away for a long period of time. Stayed there a while.
Yeah, that's interesting, huh?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. See, I
But
get some of my bruises look like some sharp nail, but it's like a point. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's like something pointy that they're hitting me with. If you look at some of the bruises, and then some of them are like these fingerprints, but some of the fingerprints are huge. I mean, they're just enormous. And it's definitely not human. um
oh.
yeah, it's very strange. Yeah,
Did
but
you ever
the
think
pan
of Did you ever think of like making like a help website where people that are experiencing the same thing as you and maybe getting in contact with you and trying to help other people
um
like yourself?
yeah, I've thought about that. Yeah, I'm going to make a I'm thinking of doing like a Facebook page. uh it might do that. you know the Spanx, the reason for the Spanx, this is what I wanted to get into, is when I put the book in me before, if I just have the book on top of me, they would move the book. And I told Barry, I said, I was, when he was sitting on my thigh, and I said, Barry, I want you to feel this. And I had Barry put his hand on top of my hand on the book. He felt the force of it shoving the book off my leg. And it was extremely powerful. I mean, he just like whipped the book off of me like it was, like it was nothing. And with the Spanx on, they can't move the book off of me. And that's why I have the Spanx on, because the underwear is so tight, they can't move it. And that's the reason why I wear the Spanx. Because when you put the stuff on you and with the tape on, they can't move the stuff off of you. If you just sleep with like a cross around your neck, they would break the cross and they'd break the necklace all the time. And what's the use of wearing it if they're going to break it? I mean, it just doesn't do any good. Um, but if you wear the Spanx, they can't move any of the objects and they can't get it off of you at all. They can't take it off of you. And then that area is kind of protected. Doesn't that, make sense, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That way
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
can't violate you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah. So the idea, yeah, I was using a waist cincher to do that with. But the problem was, you have to do it so tight, because if there was any amount of space in between, because they're, you know, uh, invisible or whatever you want to call them, they would use that little tiny space to squeak through to get to you, like any kind of air. And so I had to squeeze the waist cincher super tight just so they couldn't get through. And I was just like, well, this, now I can't even breathe. And I go, this is not healthy. So I don't do the waist cincher very often. Sometimes I do it. For some strange reason, if I use the Spanx, and then I have another book that I use if I really needed to get some sleep and I'm totally exhausted and they're just bugging me, um, I'll put the Spanx and I'll use a waist cincher, and then I'll add a couple more books on the back and my stomach. and just cinch up really tight, and then I'll be able to get some sleep. It sounds really weird, but if anybody's going through this, they will completely understand what I'm doing because they get me, you know. That's the thing. Like my ex-husband, he didn't never believe me, and he thought you're schizophrenia. This is going on, and he just never believed me. And when I met Barry, because Barry came over to my house uh, to film my haunting, and right away he got touched on the back of the head. He saw the pink orb, and he felt the bed shake. And he's all, "I totally believe you." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so nice that these people, Stefan Bagani and his group, they all believe me. They're able to verify and back up all my claims." And it was just like so much relief that, I mean, I was crying for like 2 or 3 days that all these people believe me. You have no idea when like you've got your family and your friends that never believe you, and then all of a sudden this team comes over for like 10 days, you know, getting all this evidence, and they totally back you up. It's like a miracle happens, you know. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah, it's kind of like some of the clients that we investigate a lot of cases, and yeah, a lot of times it's the activity is based around just one person in the house. It's not just everybody's experiencing things. It's focusing on one individual, and that individual sometimes thinks they're having hallucinations. They're going
Yeah,
crazy,
Yep.
you know,
yeah,
and that's not the
yeah,
case. It's not the case. It's just that this thing is focusing on one individual and not the entire family. And we
uh,
come in there and we validate it and give them some kind of peace of mind. That they're not crazy. They are experiencing this paranormal phenomena.
right, right. That's the thing. And then I mean, I've been to doctors and I've gotten to arguments with them. You know, they're like, "Oh, it's all in your head. It's a hallucination." And I'm like, "Explain the bruises." You know, I go, "How do I get such large bruises?" "Oh, sleep paralysis for 7 hours." I was
Mm.
awake.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
go, "Nobody has sleep paralysis for 7 hours and gets large bruises on their leg, that on the inside of their leg. I mean, what did I fall on? Nothing."
yeah.
I, I mean, like that's impossible, you know.
Well, doctors are always trying to give a logical explanation for something that's they don't understand.
Yeah, they just
Unfortunately,
don't.
they're
Yeah, they.
they're more scientific about it than a paranormal investigator is looking at, because most scientists don't believe in, well, they none of them believe in ghosts. So because they can't recreate how a paranormal event happens, so believe in it, and it's never going to be a science. Right now it's just a pseudoscience for us, and it's never going to be a legitimate science until they can figure out how to recreate a paranormal event. And that's
Yeah,
the problem, is how do you recreate a paranormal event? How do you make the conditions right to create a paranormal event, or to even trap one of these things to run tests on them? We have no
yeah,
idea what they're capable of doing, how an event happens. We have no idea.
yeah. Um, I'm trying to get people interested. I mean, we have so many techs out there that make all these wonderful devices to attract ghosts. Why can't they make devices to get rid of ghosts? Do the opposite. I mean, we've got to get some people interested in doing the opposite. Not just attract ghosts, but get rid of them. You know, there's got to be an interest in techs to get rid of ghosts. I mean, there's so many people out there that are hurting, and we need techs out there. Let's find something to ground ghost out instead of making EMFs and making these devices to attract ghosts. Why don't we make something to ground them out, to detract them, get rid of them, so people are not getting assaulted, not getting raped, not getting, migraines and nausea and vomiting and diarrhea and all this other stuff. I mean, get devices to get rid of ghosts, so we can stop these attacks on people, like me, and people that are going through these horrible hauntings. We This is what we need. I mean, we have so many wonderful texts out there. Why can't we do this? I believe we should be doing this.
They don't do it.
Yeah.
Basically, is because they don't understand they don't understand the phenomena. We're not capable of really understanding the phenomena yet. That's basically why. Um, there's there's no there's no way around it of us figuring out. You're basically going to have to be able to contain this stuff and run tests on it, and that's the problem. Is we can't ever find a place where or find out how to contain a spirit and run tests on it to see what it's made of, what makes it tick, what makes a paranormal event happen. It's
Not,
a very difficult science, it really is.
yeah. Well,
It's
not necessarily containing it. I'm not talking about containing it. I'm talking about maybe shocking it enough to where it says, this is so uncomfortable coming here that I don't want to come here anymore. I'll stay away from this person. I'm getting so much, shock, that the electricity here is too much for me to take, that I don't want to be with this person anymore. I mean, um, not, just make it so uncomfortable for the spirit or the attachment that doesn't want to be in that environment anymore. Not necessarily contain it, just make it very uncomfortable to be with that person anymore. I'm getting a hot. They're heating me up right now. Sorry, they don't like the idea of me telling them this. Um, yeah, like, see, the stone that grounds out EMF, it's kind of like a magnet, you know. So if you have enough of this, it will make it so uncomfortable that these things would say, well, this is really uncomfortable to be here, and I don't like this energy around here. Um, as whereas the EMF, it's like, ooh, I like all this electricity. Let's get more, instead of feeding it, let's starve it of electricity. Uh, or maybe it's so much electricity that it shocks it out.
right.
Um, when you overpower something, it actually neutralizes it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
short it out. You'd be
yeah.
shorted out too. Yeah.
Sort it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one day we'll be able to figure that out. It would be great when we could. Well, someone will break through eventually and figure it out and be able to subside some of this attacks that
my
people are
light,
having. That would
my
be
lights
awesome.
just, my lights just went off and back on again.
But yeah, maybe one day, you know what I mean? Maybe one day someone will come up with a solution or a device that can ward these things off and give some people a peace of mind. It's
Yeah.
really help people like yourself, and maybe one day. I don't know if we'll ever see it in our lifetime, but hopefully we do. You know.
I'm hoping somebody comes up with something, um, you know, um, but it's just it's really frustrating when no one believes you, and it's extremely difficult to get evidence when there's very little poltergeist activity um, on on my case. Um, but it's interesting because, like, when I came over and lived with Barry, when we set up the cameras, and then we set up cameras outside, so we can see when people come up to his door and stuff. We noticed that when I was coming home from work, all these orbs and rods started flying in outside, and it only happened when I would come home. Like, when he's here and by himself, there's nothing going on. There's no noises, not the lights aren't flickering. There's no rods flying around, no orbs flying around. I mean, it's dead quiet. And then as soon as I pick up the phone and I'm saying, "Hey Barry, I'm on my way home," he's all, "Oh, it's starting up again," and he sees this shower of rods and orbs flying in, and there's even like a shower of sparkles starting. It looks like the 4th of July in his backyard.
Wow, that's
Wow.
crazy.
It's
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, Melody, we got to wrap it up. I appreciate you for coming on the show and talking about all your experiences. That's pretty awesome. It's
Okay.
awesome for us, but scary for you. But
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
investigators like us, we think it's amazing that this kind of stuff happens, and it's scary in the same note, but it's fascinating in a way for us. So we appreciate you for coming on and talking about all your experiences. It takes a lot of bravery to talk about what's you has happened to you. So we appreciate that.
Yes, we
Well,
do.
thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, and we'd love to have you on again. Whenever you can
Sure.
find the time to come on again, just shoot me a message and we'll have you on again.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right.
All right.
Well,
Thank
thank you,
you.
Melody. I appreciate it for coming on the show, and we will talk to you again real soon.
Okay. Thank you. Have a
All
nice
right.
evening.
You
Yep.
too.
Take
Okay.
care.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right, so that's going to wrap it up tonight, folks. That was Melody Brookman, and she has had quite a bit of encounters her whole life, with paranormal rapes and alien abductions, and man, she's
That's a
had the
lot to deal
whole
with.
yeah, the whole thing. It's a lot, man. That's a lot to deal with. I mean, just the entity case itself, having a case like that is it's pretty creepy. Doesn't seem like it's on the level of what the Darth Spicer case was, but I mean, being sexually assaulted by something you can't see, that's pretty scary, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I wouldn't want. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, any male or female, to be honest. But
No.
uh, definitely, that's creepy, man. That's totally creepy. I give
Yes,
her.
it
I give
is.
her. She has a lot of guts because even talking about it, it's even scary to even talk about. So that
Yeah,
was
you got to be a
Melody
strong
Brooker.
person.
We're definitely gonna have her on again and talking about some of her. She has a lot of stories about alien abduction stuff too. So I like the alien abduction stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So, well, thank everybody for tuning in tonight. That was we did a little pop up show with Melody. Wanted to get her on the show and get her broken in, and she did really well. She was really straightforward with everything, and that's what we like. So we are probably going to do a live show, another live show Friday night. Me and Don. So if you guys are out there, you want to tune in and listen to some paranormal jib jab. That's what we're going to be doing. We're just going to be talking paranormal shop all night, and if you guys want to come in the chat room and join in the chat, do some call-ins, and let's hear some of your stories and get some of your experiences. We're all ears. So join us Friday night. What do you say about 9 p.m. There, Donna boy?
Sounds good to me. 9 p.m.
All
Can't
right.
wait.
So all you listeners, you're out there, 9 p.m. Friday night. We're going to do another live and talk paranormal shop. So come on over and We'll see you guys on Friday night. You guys enjoy the rest of your ended week. So,
Good night, everybody.
good night, everybody.
That will conclude our broadcast of the Paranormal Journal podcast. Have a great night.